Good afternoon and welcome to our Friday show on the mark, where myself and Shahil's back with me for a Friday show. We're going to go through the card as best as we can. Hopefully we find you a couple of winners. We didn't have a bad meeting last week, Shahil. We found a couple of winners.
That's right.
Let's hope we can do that again. Let's start off with, before we start off, I'm sure you would know by now that in race 3 you can take out from the ashes. He has been scratched. Number 6 from the ashes doesn't take any part. Right, let's start off with race 1, Shahil. It's a 1450 020. 020 is never easy to find winners. And in fact, this race I've gone and I'm going to use my value bet. That's going to be number 6, Redwood Valley. Have a look at the last 5 horses that he's run behind. They've all come out and won this season. Redline Captain, Badawi, From the Ashton, Byzantine, Xanthus, they've all won this season. I believe that he's a little bit better than what he's taking on here. Obviously, Fortissimo Social Network, they do quite well in this sort of handicap, but they are getting on a bit, 7 years old, 8 years old. And I think that Redwood Valley, the reason why I like Redwood Valley is purely on his track work. His track work has been very, very good. Yeah. And yes, he is drawn 9, but he comes from off the pace. Darryl Holland's a decent jockey in his own right. He knows the track better than most. And therefore, I'm going to lean towards Redwood Valley. Before we ask you about your selection, Shahil, what do you think about Redwood Valley? Do you think I'm crazy, or do you think he's got a chance?
Now, in this 020, everyone's got a chance, obviously. That was a good run on International Day with Manuel Martinez. He did finish off pretty well that day, only 2 lengths off Xanthus. And we know Xanthus already won 2 races this season, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, Redwood Valley does go in with a chance. But I personally like Fortissimo. The way he was finishing off last time out, with that awkward draw of 7, he had a tough race, pretty wide throughout the race. Now better drawn in 2. Rajoawan remains on board, so I'm going to go with Fortissimo. This horse, in 020, he looks to be very, very competitive.
Yeah, Fortissimo, I thought last time that the 1600 was going to be a little bit too far. If you have a look in the race time or in your whatever book you use, he hit the front and he sort of just tired late, and he got collared off late by Cassius King. I can't remember who ran second on that particular. Spun Out ran second. So I just thought the 1600 was a little bit too far for him. Obviously, the 1450 is going to suit him. He's got a good draw, like you say. He was caught wide last time. It wasn't an easy race for him. He still managed to run a very good third. So Fortissimo, is that your first choice?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. And then obviously Social Network. It depends which Social Network comes to the track. On his day, he can run like hell, and he probably could beat this field quite easily, but it all depends on sort of the circumstances of the race. Going through it, I thought that he would be able to lead quite easily in this race.
Probably, but he does have to overcome that 8th barrier, I do believe, Social Network. But like you said, he's an inconsistent horse. But I remember you told me that he's a horse that got loads of ability. So like you said, it depends on which Social Network comes to the races tomorrow.
Yeah.
I do like number 7 though, Logan. That was a cracking run last time, I believed. It was the first ride of Bruno Reef, if I'm not mistaken. He's drawn 1 this time. He didn't have the easiest way through in the final stretch. Probably tomorrow he will with the first barrier. I think Logan will run a better race.
Okay, great. All right, let's end off race 1. I'm going to give my value bet to Redwood Valley. I know it's probably about 100 meters short of his best, but he's coming out fresh. I think he's going to run a cracker. So I'm going to go Redwood Valley to beat 1 Fortissimo and number 2 Social Network. Shahil, what's your trifecta?
I'll probably go with Fortissimo to beat Logan and Redwood Valley.
Okay, perfect. All right, that's race 1 done and dusted. Hopefully you get through your pick 8. It is a tough race. If you are a pick 8 player, maybe you want to load a couple of horses, especially in those 020s. Right, second race, number 1, I'm going Blow in the Box. Another horse that's probably, once again, poorly drawn, but another horse has done well. All his races last season, not all his races, but his last 5 races last season was in a 41 merit rating. He drops down to the 36 for the first time. Yes, he is carrying 61.5. He has got a poor draw, but I just like the races that this horse ran last year. He ran in the 3L Championship. He's run behind Perplexing. Why wouldn't you? A short said second to Bad Attitude as well. I thought he's pretty fit from what I've seen in training. I thought he's done enough work to sort of come into a race. And I really like the look of number 1, Blow in the Box. Shahil, I know Hit Him Again, Chuck, was one of your horses to follow as far as training was concerned on Wednesday. What's your take on the second race?
Like you said, Blow in the Box, he's a very consistent sort. Only out of the placings once last season. Even with
and on that particular day, he was reported to pull up injured. He injured himself in that race as
in the World Championship, I think it was.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, so like a very consistent sort. Even with Robbie, he was badly drawn in 8 that day, but Robbie did manage to settle him and did finish off very well. So he's a versatile kind of horse. So if he does overcome that 9th barrier, and Carl Zachner's riding very well, he'll be a tough horse to beat, I do believe. But yeah, hit him again, Chuck. It had a bit. It was a good run on the 990 against Barak Straight, probably too short for him. 1400 is going to suit him better. He drops now to a benchmark of 36, so that should be helpful also for him. Yeah, he does go in with a chance to hit him again, Chuck.
Yeah, and then number 3, come on, Sonny, that was a great second to Boyer last time. I think Boyer came out and
won again
quite easily, so that form has been frank. Juron's riding him, he's drawn 1, probably have the run of the race, so he must have a big chance as well.
He must, but I'm just scared that he might be caught a bit late, just like last time, and he'll come at them too late.
Yeah, all right, okay. So my trifecta, I'm going 1, 2, and 3. The top weights, I believe that's going to be the order of finish 1, 2, and 3. Shahil, what's your trifecta?
Just the same. Just a different side order. I'm hitting again, Chuck in front of Blind the Box and Come Sorry.
All right, great. All right, third race, 1500 benchmark 41. Remember, number 6 from the Ashes has been withdrawn. Not a very tough field. It's not a very strong race. I reckon if Barak Levan's ever going to win a race, I would imagine this is probably going to be his best chance. 12 runs in Mauritius, 10 places. He's come close on quite a couple of occasions. Very versatile horse. They've tried him from 990 right up to 1850, and he's placed in all these sort of races. So Bruno Rees, riding well. He's had 2 winners in his first 2 meetings. What do you think? Do you think he's quick enough to lead in this race? I mean, I suppose he doesn't have to lead, but that was a good run from when he led last time.
That's right. I did fancy him on that day. I do remember. Probably the 1600 was a bit too far for your debut. It drops back to the 1500. Bruno Rees was at his first meeting, and in my opinion, he took so much time to kick the horse, to just get him going, and that's where Captain Spandiceli beat him, because he's a long striding horse and he just got him on the line. Yeah. Bruno, with now more experience, I'm sure he'll take better decisions tomorrow, and I do believe that Barak Levan will be a hard nut to crack.
Yeah, I believe. I agree with what Shahil says. I think that 1600 was probably 100 meters too far for him. I've written down in my book that I think that the 1500 is going to suit him down to the ground. Barak Levan and Bruno Rees probably very capable of riding his next winner tomorrow. Okay, and then, I mean, you know, from the Ashes out, doesn't leave a lot left. What about number 1, Top of the Rock? If you go back to his last win, it was in the rating of 41, which is taking on today's. In fact, this is the first time back in 41. Naresh Jaglal's riding. He's drawn 3. His work's been pretty good. His work's actually been very, very good, Top of the Rock. And I think he probably just needed that first run when 8.5 lengths behind Perplexing. In this sort of field, definitely must have a chance. Definitely.
I'm averaging exactly the same thing that you just said. Drops back to a benchmark of 41. Probably needed the first run, and that one has bring him on for this race. So yeah, Top of the Rock does go in with a chance, but he does have to come and catch Barak Levan.
Yeah. Okay. And then to fill up the minor placing now from the Ashes out, what do you think is the next best on the card?
Probably Avail, but again the distance might be on the sharp side for Avail. He's drawn 1, but I'm sure he'll finish off very well.
Yeah, he ran, 2 lengths behind Barak Levan last time. I do agree with you. The 1500 probably a little bit on the short side for him. Although he has won a 1500 before, but that was quite a while ago, if I remember correctly. But Avail's probably, on paper, looks like the 3rd best. My trifecta looks like we're going to go with the same. Barak Levan, Top of the Rock, and Avail.
That's right.
All right. Perfect, great, nice and easy. Right, 4th race, it is a 1450 benchmark 51. Do you think this is a possible rematch between Virtue and Woltag?
Probably, yeah. Probably. It depends on the circumstances again.
Yeah, I like Virtue. I like the fact that he jumped from that poor draw last time. He went to the front. He was hanging in very badly that day with Cedric. I don't know whether or not it was sort of tiredness, greenness. I don't think it was feeling anything, because he wasn't reported to pull up lame or anything like that. But I mean, you remember last year I thought a lot of this horse, and I sort of ignored him last time because of that draw, and well, he just proved too good for them. The 2 draw this time, I reckon that he's going to be a little bit too good for them. Obviously, Woltag came out and won after Virtue beat him, so Woltag got his penalty. So they're meeting at the same terms, except obviously Virtue's a lot better drawn this time. That's why I'm going to lean towards him. Woltag, I know Richard Mullen always rated this horse. He's now sort of found his form in Mauritius. That was a great win. A great ride by Derek David.
Yeah, to overcome that 11th barrier.
from the 10 out of 10 draw when he managed to get up and beat Henry Tudor. You have to obviously respect Waltag. You have to respect anything that Vincent Elliot's putting his saddle on these days, because he's really doing well. What are we, 5 meetings in because of the washed out meeting. He's already had 7 winners, and I remember he finished the season last year with 7 winners. So he's really doing well. Whatever he's done to turn his stable around, long may it continue. But you have to respect Vincent Elliot's runners as well. Is there any other horses you want to talk about before we sort of go into our selections?
Obviously, number 2, Mambo Rock. I did speak about him on Wednesday. He badly needed that first run, but it was a good run, 4th behind Virtue. He lost the shoe that day. He's drawn 10 this time, but he's a horse that comes from off the pace. Like we said, he probably won't win 5 races again this season, but he's very capable of winning this race. The thing about Virtue, last time I don't think anyone expected him to go to the front. This time they probably will. I'm a bit scared about Trapload. He's drawn on his inside, and there could probably be a match race in front, and that could suit the finishes like Mambo Rock or Waltag.
Yeah, I don't really believe that Virtue has to go to the front. Yeah. If you remember correctly, I think this was the 4th race of the day. The first 3 races of that particular day, every single horse that went to the front won, and maybe Cedric and Jean-Michel made the decision, listen,
let's try our luck.
Yeah, drawn 2 this time. I don't believe he has to lead. If there's a horse quicker than him, he'd probably sit up second. And in sort of South Africa, he used to run on quite well. Have a look at his debut. He was really running on strongly from behind. So I don't believe Virtue has to lead. Getting back to Mambo Rock, yeah, I mean, he got slightly slow away as well. He lost that shoe. Only finished 2 lengths behind Virtue, so definitely must have some sort of chance. Unfortunately, he's drawn 10. I thought Norris Juggler's got some terrible draws to deal with throughout the day, and they're really testing his abilities as a jockey to place his horses. Right, at the end of the day, I'm going to stick with 7 Virtue. I'm going to go Waltag to run 2nd and Mambo Rock to run 3rd.
Yeah, same for me too. Same trifecta.
Okay, we're agreeing on a lot of things today. So
yeah.
Okay, the 5th race, it is a 1450 benchmark 61. We see the return of one of my favorite horses, number 2, King's County. I think Shahil's got a big soft spot for this horse as well. I think we both agreed last time he was going to need that run. Didn't look at his best. It's quite it's difficult to believe that his weight he was a kilogram light. I mean, to me, he looked a lot heavier. But I have to say, what I saw on Tuesday, he's definitely he's a much fitter horse this time, and he's got to draw this time. He's drawn 2. I reckon, and this is my most humble opinion, I think that Akash Okras probably could have gone a little bit too quick on him last time. But then again, he was coming over from a bad draw. He had to chase King's County early on. And he fell in a hole, probably the last 100 meters. He definitely needed it. What do you think this time? Do you think we're going to see the King's County of last year?
I do believe, yeah. Finally, New Race Jagger cracks a good draw at King's County. He's drawn on the inside of Iceland, so that's a plus. He could probably make him work a little bit in the early stages of the race. Like you said, his trips fit around with 1 run under the belt. I do believe King's County will be a very hard nut to crack, and very happy to see the sidewinkers back on.
Yeah. Yeah, and obviously Bonnie Prince finished 2 lengths in front of him last time, but obviously, Bonnie Prince had already had a run. He is drawn on his inside. I think that Bonnie Prince is probably going to end up sitting in the box seat if King's County and Ice Run go. So he's going to be in quite a good position, Bonnie Prince. They meet on the same conditions. You definitely must have a chance, Bonnie Prince. But I think that King's County is going to turn the tables on him this time.
Definitely, I also think that he's going to reverse that form. Bonnie Prince, like you said, he's going to benefit from that plum draw and plum the draw. Listen, Bonnie Prince, that win on International Day, I think that changed the table for him because it was a change horse after that race. So Bonnie Prince does stand with a good chance in this race.
Yeah, and then 3rd choice, probably Ice Run. In your opinion, I'm going to give you mine, but I'm going to ask you your opinion. Who's quicker, King's County or Ice Run?
I do believe King's County.
I believe as well. Yeah, I think I've written down here. In my opinion, King's County is quicker and he is a better horse than Ice Run. That's just my opinion. I believe that if he jumps, pings the gates well, and he's out in front, I think he's going to be quite a hard horse to catch, King's County.
Actually, my 3rd choice would be Dream Forest because he ran a great race last time out. Despite losing a shoe, he's drawn 4. He's a horse that got the ability too, and I'm sure he'll be running on at them at the end. So probably for place chance, Dream Forest.
Yeah, well, there was a cracking run to behind Baritone. Baritone came out and ran 2nd. So yeah, that form has been franked as well. Okay. Yeah, now that you mention it, I think I might just change my 3rd choice because Ice Run has won 2 good races, but I think the racing has just worked out for him. Yeah. Is he in the same class as these horses? I don't believe he is. So I think I'm going to change my trifecta, Shail. I think you've convinced me. I'm going to go Kings County, Bonnie Prince, and Dream Forest.
Again, we've got the same one.
Okay, the 6th race. It is the first leg of the 3-year-old championship. It is the 990-meter edition. A little bit disappointed. I thought we'd see a couple better 3-year-olds, but I suppose the 990 don't suit a lot of them, and trainers have decided to maybe save them for the second
leg.
And well, that makes, I mean, Rule the Night has to be a very, very hard horse to beat, especially on that first emphatic win when he won by 5 lengths on debut. I think the jockey got the biggest fright that day when he quickened up and he looked behind me. He couldn't believe that he'd won by 5 lengths. And I mean, look, it was, you know, sometimes you can't judge a horse on one particular race, but this was a very, very convincing win. And I don't believe he's taking on the best here. Obviously, his biggest sort of problem, I won't say problem, but the fact that he's carrying the top weight of 61, but he won with 61. He won well, and it was over 990. He knows the track now. He knows everything. He has to be the first choice or the favorite. But I have to say that this horse's Baritol on Tuesday, number 2, Lakera, really impressed me. There was a very, very impressive gallop. He is a 3-year-old that's won 3, and he's arrived in Mauritius with a rating of 51. So he has to be decent. That's all going to depend sort of how fit he is. And then obviously Good Buddy, 2 runs, 2 wins. You've got to respect him as well. But what's your thoughts on the first leg of the 3-year-old?
Like you said, Rule the Night is going to be a tough nut to crack in this race. He doesn't have to lead probably, because I see that Rob Roy's got a lot of pace back in South Africa, Rob Roy. But yeah, Rule the Night, he won in an impressive way, and he won in the best time. Still no one has beaten his time in 2019. So for a 3-year-old to run that time, that was very impressive. Being drawn for, I think he'll be in the box seat just behind Licario and Rob Roy. And if he is good enough, he should be able to catch them on the line again.
Yeah, I think this also is good enough to sit last in this small field and beat them. Licario showed a lot of speed in that gallop as well. He obviously is a decent horse. You know, to be rated 51
as a 3-year-old,
he obviously has to be decent, but it's all going to depend on his fitness. But that Baritol was very impressive, so I definitely think that he's going to probably be the biggest danger to Rule the Night. End of the day, I'm going to go 1, 2, 5. That's going to be my trifecta. Again, we are agreeing on the same trifecta. I think we should do that tomorrow, huh? All right, perfect. Okay, the 7th race, the penultimate race of the afternoon, 1400-meter benchmark 31. Probably one of the toughest races on the card. I definitely like the look of Vast Side. Yes, once again, bad draw, but have a look when he won on International Day. I have to say it was an unbelievable ride from Maxime Guyon that particular day when he managed to beat one of my sort of fancies of the season, Till Dawn. It was a cracking ride, and he managed to get Vast Side up. We all know what happened when they tried the blinkers on him. It didn't work. I reckon that Vast Side, I think he needed that first run this season when he finished 5 lengths behind Mind Blowing. In fact, I've noticed a lot of Hirchans horses have needed 1 or 2 runs, but Manuel Nunes is here now. Horses ran a lot better last week. I think that the stable's going to start ticking over. In fact, I think it's worthwhile following the Hirchan stable now with Manuel Nunes. But getting back to Vast Side, yes, the poor draw, but he did come from off them to beat them on International Day. And I don't think this is the strongest sort of race. I know you're a big Fury fan. What's your take on well, let's talk about your first choice anyway.
Yeah, he ran 3rd to Vast Side on International Day. That was a good ride from the racetrack. Again, Nuresh gets back on him. He's drawn on the inside of Vast Side, but I don't think that's a huge plus because Fury, on that day, he did follow on the rail. So if Nuresh can get him into a decent position, I'm sure he'll be running on well. His work has been good till now, and I think he's a kind of a value bet because I see him this morning at 650. So probably Fury for a value bet for me this week.
Okay, so Fury, that's Shahil's value bet of the afternoon. Fury, yes, I do agree. Ran a good race behind Vast Side and still learning. I think he was still learning at that stage. He's had the 2 runs now. No, 3 runs. He's had 3 runs in Mauritius now, so he knows what it's all about. So Vast Side, Fury. I'll tell you one thing, this little grey horse that galloped on Tuesday, the horse that came from Mike de Kock, professional.
Yeah, professional.
That was a very impressive gallop. I actually watched it again last night, and he sort of was slow away. Slowly bided his time, but he was really finishing full of running. This was professional, and I think this is the one that was owned by the Sheikh, if I'm not mistaken, and he probably would have cost a lot of money, this horse, and he's obviously a decent horse. He's probably going to need the run, probably the experience, but definitely a horse that's worthwhile following. And then another horse that there's been a lot of talk about track-wise is number 6, Volatile Energy, and a lot of people have been mentioning this horse to me. Wait till Volatile Energy comes out. Wait for Volatile. Here he is, and he's not in the strongest of fields, so I suppose he has to have a chance as well. End of the day, quite a tough race. I'm going to go Varside. I do agree with you, Fury. There was a good run to Varside, and then 6 and 7, Professional and Volatile Energy to fight out that 3rd and 4th place.
I'm going to go with Fury to beat Varside, and for 3rd, probably Mr. Green Street. We've heard a lot about this horse. He ran against the likes of One World, who came out and won the Winter Guineas last Saturday. So let's see how Mr. Green Street goes.
All right, perfect. Okay, that is the 7th race. We're moving over to the 8th and final race, the lucky last, 600 meters, 1600 meters, 0.25. And let's hope Cyber Special cracks it this time. Yes, you have to say he's been very, very unlucky in both his runs. He got sort of badly bumped on his debut, and then last time, no fault of Naresh, sorry, no fault of his. He actually placed the horse very well. But then he got caught on the fence and he couldn't get out. And by the time he got out, Jetpath was on his bike. And I'm sure Naresh would probably have learnt his lesson. Once again, I'm not blaming him. It's happened it's happened to me and many other jockeys many times. You think you're in a great position, you get stuck on the fence, you can't get out, and you can't blame him. But Cyber Special looks like he's a big striding horse. It was a good finish of his, and I would imagine. I wouldn't be surprised if he takes him off to the lead, but if he doesn't, I would imagine he's going to try and get him out earlier and get him going. He's too good for this field, in my opinion. I
do agree with you. I'd like to see him run much more closer to the pace tomorrow, if not lead, because he did lead back in South Africa when he ran 3rd to Etiab.
Yeah, even his debut, he set up 2nd from that 6th draw.
That's right. With that 2nd barrier, he should be able to follow much more closer.
I wouldn't be surprised if he leads, because I reckon that he's much better than this field. Just to stay out of trouble, bounce him out and go to the front.
There's no real fortune on paper.
No, exactly. Yeah, there's nothing. Yeah, nothing.
Yeah, so let's hope he gets it right 3rd time lucky.
Yeah, I think he'll pull it off Cyber Special. I believe he is the banker on the card.
One of your 2 to follow, Sir Capers, but probably will have to settle for Segal again.
Yeah, I think he's going to settle for 2nd. That was a cracking run behind Play Another Tune. Yeah. A little bit, well, I wouldn't say unlucky. He was never going to beat the winner, but he had to sort of zigzag up the straight a bit. I think he's going to be 2nd best. And then to find the 3rd, well, to final the trifecta, I'm going to go spin a coin purely on that last run behind Play Another Tune. I do believe that the mile will suit him better than the 1400. He's evergreen, this horse. He always tries his best. And I'm going to make him my 3rd choice in the last race.
His work up to this race has been very good. I remember that Barrett trial on the sand track. That was very good. Yes, yeah. And then he had to make a wide turn move, but still he managed to finish only 2.5 lengths behind Play Another Tune. I do believe he'll be in the trifecta or quartet tomorrow. Okay, so it sounds like we're going to agree on the same trifecta, 139? Yeah. Okay, perfect. Well, there we go. That's a wrap. Before we do wrap, our bankers and our value bet, I'm going Cyber Special as a banker. And the first race, Redwood Valley, I think he's around about 9 to 1. So I think he's definitely worth a little each way bet. And then I do like that also in the 2nd as well, Blow in the Box, and he's quite a genuine price as well, a generous price, should I say. So I'm going to go banker and 2 value bets. I'll probably go the other way around, 2 bankers, probably Cyber Special at Kings County. I'm a huge fan of this horse, and for a value, it probably Fury. Okay, great. Well, you're obviously expecting Gilbert Rosset to have a big day tomorrow. Let's see, yeah, because they're getting their jockey now and the horses are starting to come to form, so let's see how they go. Yeah. Okay, well, there we go. That's a wrap. Thank you very much for watching it. Remember, next week, Wednesday, will be our Jeu de Gala, where myself and Shahil will discuss this meeting. We'll go through a couple of barriers and some sand track. Let's hope you have a good day's racing. Let's hope you make some money, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye.